everyone, and welcome to another episode of Home Tech. I'm Seth Johnson, and this week again, Jason has taken off, and I think he's enjoying some fly fishing up north somewhere. So this week, I've got a very special guest to come onto the show and talk about a little event he's got going on in a couple of months. Mike Wolf from Next Market. Mike, how's it going, man?
I'm doing well, Seth. I don't know if I'm very special, maybe just special.
Super special.
You said a very special guest, and I want to worry about Jason. Has anyone heard from him? Has he sent for help? Are we sure he's going to make it back?
Yeah, he went. He moved and then went on vacation, which I think is a great way to do it. So I think he'll be back in the next week or two. I'm not sure, but we'll find out. We'll get him back on the show. We'll drag him kicking and screaming if we have to.
All right. Well, if you need help finding him, let me know.
Well, if you like fishing, I think you could probably find him fairly easily. So, hey, Mike, you've got this event coming up, and we're going to touch on it towards the end of the show here. It's the Smart Kitchen Summit up in Seattle, and sounds like a really super interesting idea. I've been kind of watching your feed and things that you've been talking about going into the Smart Kitchen. Looks like this is a very interesting and beginning, very beginning of a very interesting market, I guess is what I'm trying to say. There's a lot of excitement growing around it, I think.
Yeah, I mean, when I look at the smart home, it's just a series of different opportunities. I kind of view IoT is the big umbrella, and then you have consumer IoT and then the smart home. But under that, there's just all these different markets that have been existing for so long that are ripe for change. And as they say in Silicon Valley, disruption. And I've watched as the kitchen has just seen a lot of really interesting stuff happening from surely just from a startup activity standpoint. There's tons going on. There's kind of these rise of these new sous vide guys. There's the June Intelligent Oven, trying to recreate the oven. There's big companies like Freescale, which is trying to recreate core cooking elements. And they're looking at the microwave and said, "Hey, microwave technology is from the 1940s. We can actually do better and use mobile RF technology and cook a steak by zone." And so there's just a huge amount of innovation going on, quite frankly, across the board. And you could just name every aspect of the kitchen. And so I just looked around and I didn't see anyone really doing an event focused on this intersection between IoT and smart home and food tech. I had seen separately, a food tech events because it's an area that I'm interested in. I've seen separately IoT and smart home, but I really didn't see the convergence of the two. And that's why I decided to put an event on. And so I just started talking to people, and I've got what I would call a who's who of people in this market. If you look at the speakers we have, so we're really excited. And I was down at the venue today, and it's this old school Seattle warehouse that the event's in. That's just going to be really awesome. So excuse me if I'm over exuberant.
No. I mean, it's super exciting.
That's my first event. So yeah.
Well, so before we get too much further into it, let's just kind of touch on a couple of news things that came up the last couple of weeks that we've just kind of been filling up. It's been slow news cycle, right? I haven't seen anything going on other than I think everybody's waiting for their new iPhone. Is the best I can tell.
We're in the middle of what I would call the summer doldrums, and I think people are heads down preparing for the fall launches. Because there's everyone gets frenzied in September, October, November, and then it goes quiet till CES. I think people are just preparing for that wave.
Yeah, and Acedia then is in October, so I imagine all the CE or the CI related industries are heads down, writing what they can in software and building what they can in hardware to get out to Dallas this year. In October.
Yeah, that's the big, the only drawback to me this year is do I want to go to Dallas? But I think at that point in time, it won't be too hot and humid. So it might be okay.
No, from what I understand, Dallas is actually really windy. And strangely enough, I don't really, maybe it's just being right there on the edge of the plains, but it's very windy out there from what I hear. Hot, I really don't know what hot is. I live here in Florida and it's hot all the time. So I just kind of,
that's true. And then, I mean, I've been there before, and I think it was during the summer or late summer, and it was pretty hot. But I do like it there. I like Fort Worth, which is really beautiful. So it's kind of in this old school Western town. But yeah, so you'll be there. I'll be there. We should do a show from there. I think we talked about it last time. I don't think we ever did it. So
yeah, we definitely do. Yeah, we got to talk on that because I think I'm going to do something special for CEDIA this year. We had a lot of fun, Jason and I, doing like this summary show after the fact there, and I think we can up our game this time. And if you guys are in town, I know Richard said he was going to be in town. If you're in town, maybe we can do something special. So
stay tuned.
Yeah. All right. So Vizio is a company that has filed for its IPO in the last couple weeks. And I kind of, our last week's show was named HomeTech.biz because we've been talking about business so much. It's getting kind of funny, but one thing that they revealed in their filings is that they have a technology integrated into their televisions, so their smart TVs, that determines what the user is watching regardless of the source. So they can tell if you're watching a DVD or a Blu-ray or playing a video game. They can tell you what's program has been shown on the TV and for how long you've been doing those activities. It can differentiate over 100 billion anonymized viewing data points. This seems kind of creepy to me. What do you think?
Well, having followed, the big data world for some time, looking at things like, ACR technology, which is built into TVs increasingly and set-top boxes that monitors usage. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised at all. I think that it was just put into a filing document where the company's actually saying it. It's not as creepy to me as I think it was the Samsung smart TVs where it went out, and I think it was in maybe a filing or something that they actually said that they may use the video that they capture through the integrated camera and use that data for kind of strange and mysterious purposes.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, I've kind of just maybe this is me being cynical that I've just thrown my hands up and kind of know that people will be monitoring what I do if I'm using it like an interactive electronic network device nowadays. So I guess it just doesn't bother me, but I do think that it's something that they need to be clear and communicate to the end user. And what I would just suggest is that they have a turn-off button, like and especially if they don't want the government to get involved, because I think increasingly government's going to be asking, what are you using all this data for? If by the way, if the spies aren't asking them to actually have the data themselves, the legislators will be saying, what are you doing with all this data? So, but I'm not surprised.
Yeah, I mean, it's very interesting that they're collecting this, and I guess it is part of the bigger big data movement. But I actually did find a way to turn this feature off on Vizio's website. So if you have a Vizio Smart TV and you have it connected to the internet, you may want to go take the link we'll put in the show notes at HomeTech.fm/74. And they call this thing smart interactivity. So if that doesn't seem like it says turn off tracking, it says turn off smart interactivity. Which is a strange name for it, huh?
And it's less nefarious. It's like calling the Blue Sky Initiative when it's it's your goal to like raise pollution or whatever, right? So it's
right.
You just put like a name on it that's kind of confusing or attractive, and people don't wonder what it is. So
turn off super cool features.
Yes.
Why would I ever want to turn those off? They're super cool features.
Exactly.
All right. Well, speaking of super cool features, there's this company called Abode, which spelled and looks like Adobe if you read it really quickly, that has launched a home security and automation platform, so to speak, that is geared heavily towards DIY. I know that I've talked with you in the past about DIY security systems and in the security market in general. So I know you know a little bit or quite a bit about this. These guys have launched this system clearly aimed at DIY, and where they say there's no monthly fee required, but they also can optionally set it up for professional monitoring. This seems like, to me, kind of the best of both worlds. The major problem I've had with security in the past is it's way too hard to install. Like it's incredible how little the product has advanced, and I guess I'm glad to kind of see products like this hit market where it's a little bit easier to set up, so much easier that a consumer could do it.
Yeah, there's so much innovation going on and change in the security space. I think, if you look at just on the purely DIY side, you've seen like an emergence of like a bunch of different guys in these standalone what I call security appliances, from the Canaries to the Black Sumacs of the world, which was acquired by iControl, a new device coming out from ADT made by LG. And then if you look at traditional security, you've seen just as much rapid change. I mean, I think a lot of it started with Alarm.com and people moving to more interactive kind of modern features built on top of like their platform. But I think the business model innovation is really interesting. I mean, I think you have guys like Simply Safe, which has kind of been seemed like that old school company that like has been using like kind of old school advertising, but like Simply Safe is like a good model of kind of the change. So they've been doing like self-install with this, like a real call center based monitoring solution for some time. And what you're seeing, what you've seen the last couple of years is guys like FrontPoint, interesting and innovative guys. And I think FrontPoint's based on Alarm.com. That's their platform. But they built this model where you do DIY install. They send you the hardware, so they remove the cost of a truck roll. So if you think of this from a business model perspective, it's just like way more affordable, and you don't have to have like a gazillion guys in trucks that you have to pay. And then you install it, and then they have this, kind of carrier grade or basically security grade equipment, but it's just a self install, and then you pay them. So across the board, I think there's lots of innovation. So I think this new company, which I want to call Adobe too, just looking at the name, is spelled Abode. I think that's the biggest mistake they name is calling their company Abode, quite frankly.
Right.
But they have like some impressive pedigrees, I think, behind the company. I think the former ADT executive, Chris Carney, is one of the guys. So they look like they have guys coming out of the right spaces. Mike Snyder, the former ADT president, is a backer. So it's just another sign that we're seeing significant change in the security space, and these guys are targeting that, I think, with a DIY install with like real monitoring. So they look to me like kind of a more modern Simply Safe, because they have some pretty cool stuff that's built around Zigbee and Z-Wave, and they have some really cool features around, I think, video monitoring, which is one of the things that Julie Jacobson highlights in her article. So I think you'll have that article in your show notes, but Julie really goes on about this for quite a bit.
Yeah, that's a very important feature that I think most of the DIY products have been missing for a while, is the visual verification. I think it's required in some locales where you have to have a camera installed in the residence or in the commercial property. It's there, so when something happens, the alarm goes off, the central monitoring station can actually look into the residence, and in some cases they can actually speak. Like there's a two-way voice thing that they can use to speak into the residence as well. And it's just geared towards basically eliminating false alarms, which can be, one of those things. It's like the boy who cried wolf. Like you don't want these things going off all the time, because it's just going to desensitize the police officer from responding. And when there is a real emergency, you want them to show up fairly quickly and get out there and take a look at it. So, I think that's a pretty good feature to have on it. It looks like there's a lot of like Zigbee, Z-Wave, and 433 megahertz radio, which is 433. I think
433 was built into I thought it was built into the Revolve Hub. I'm trying to remember what it's for, right? Wasn't that?
Yeah, I think it's some kind of security. It's used in security a lot, if like for security contacts, a particular type. I'm trying to remember. It's been a while. I know that the Lutron stuff is around that megahertz range as well, but I don't think that's what this is. I think that this is more geared towards the security contacts. But,
interesting.
The 433 thing is basically so it punches. It's so low it punches through all the walls and everything, and you can put a contact way further away than Zigbee or Z-Wave would be in range to do.
I haven't had a security system, like a monitored security system, for many years. I've had some pretty old school ones, and I've been playing a lot with like a lot of the DIY stuff for the last couple of years because I write about it. But I had a Vivint system installed about 3 weeks ago with, it's monitored, and they had their new panel, which actually replaced the 2 gig panel.
Yep.
The Go Control panel, the 2 gig panel. And it's actually, if you go into the App Store, there's actually two apps. One is for the old system built on the 2 gig panel, and one is for the new system built around the Vivint panel. That's what I have. But You're right though. When there's an alarm, because we had a couple false alarms go off, the call center actually calls the panel. You remember like the old security system? Obviously, for all you kids out there, they used to call your phone, but it's much easier. It's actually much more user friendly going directly to the panel, which you're going to go to anyway, and having the conversation before they call the police in.
Yeah, I'd say 90% of my clients don't even have phone lines these days.
Yeah,
and when we hook it up, they just like. You ask for a phone line from them, and if they have one, it's like a fax number that they never answer, and they just give you your cell phone. We just put their cell phones on there, but that's obviously not what the locales want to, the dispatching services want to deal with. They want to call the residents there, make sure that what's going on is actually going on, without having to bug somebody's cell phone. You may not be able to answer it. So yeah, calling the panel is a great way to get around that little limitation.
Yeah, no. So one of the great things about the modern panels are the fact that it has a cellular radio in it. So,
yeah.
Versus the old school panels that didn't.
Yeah. That's a huge thing because having the cellular radio, I mean, you could push data over it, and you can do the voice calls over it. And pushing the data over it's huge because that's where you get all your push notifications out to your phone, and you don't have to worry about tying into a phone line that somebody comes through with a trench digger and knocks out phone lines for everybody in the neighborhood, and your panel starts beeping in the middle of the night. And oh man, the days of having those service calls for me are long gone. We switched completely over to using cellular as fast as we could. Just for that one reason right there.
Another couple cool things about the new Vivint panel, and this isn't like an area I expect to go down, but since we're talking security, they have integrated with the new Vivint connected doorbell. And so I was using the Skybell, which is actually a pretty good device, purely DIY. But the new Vivint one, which they announced, I think maybe a couple months ago, works pretty well. And what's cool is the panel actually has a video screen on it. So I can actually tell my kid, don't go to the front door. Just see who's at the front door by going to the panel. So it's actually, you have a video feed of that as well as any other video feed you have can go directly into the panel, and you can watch your video there, which I think is a really cool thing.
Yeah, I heard about that. I was wondering how well it was working out for people who signed up for it. So it's like one of these, like the Doorbot or Ring or what's the other one, Skybell. It's just like that, where it has a camera built into it.
Yeah. So I was using the Skybell, which is a pretty good video doorbell. I mean, it's a little bit slow sometimes to actually ring the app, as is the Vivint one. For some reason, there seems to be a lot of delay around these doorbells. I've had to try a few of them now where they're, you may have someone at the door, and then like a minute later, like I'll get the notification or like, hey, someone's at the door, look at the video feed. But it is a cool feature to be able to see who's at your door when you're either at home and not having to go to the front door, especially if you have kids, or if you're away. Like I've been out at meetings and I no one's home. I know no one's home, and someone's at my door. And so I can actually see who's there. And I actually creeped one time there was like 3 kids at the door. It looked like they were one of those, summer crews looking to paint your house because they had a clipboard. And the kid's just looking at my doorbell, and I started talking to him, and he jumped like a mile. So
nice.
It's also fun for you practical jokers out there to get a video doorbell. So
yeah, it'd be good for Halloween time, I suppose, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, I mean, that's pretty much all we had for this week. Let's drift back into talking about the Smart Kitchen Summit. When is that going on, and what can we expect to see there?
It's November 5th in my home area of Seattle. I figured I might as well do this where I'm at. We've had some people in Silicon Valley go, why is it not down here? Because, Silicon Valley is an epicenter for a lot of innovation, obviously, and there's a big movement around there. But quite honestly, Seattle has a really active food tech community. There's companies like Pico Brew, which I've talked about before. They do the connected brewing appliance. There's Chef Steps. I think the Sincere, if I'm saying right, I always mess it up. One of the sous vide guys is up here. I think part of it was, quite honestly, and we're going to get nerdy here, is, Nathan Myhrvold, who was the chief scientist for Microsoft for a long time, who left, and he started what a lot of people would call a patent troll company. He's also like a huge foodie. Like he's a massive foodie, and he wrote what I would like what a lot of people call consider the masterwork around modern food science, called the Modernist Cuisine. It's a massive, like, many 1,000-page book on just food science about, just food hacking, and like it was written by an ex-Microsoft guy who's well known as super techie, and so that I think was part of the reason. I mean, you obviously also have companies like Starbucks up here, et cetera. But
and Microsoft, Amazon,
Microsoft, Amazon,
some little small tech companies out there.
But I think the fact that Nathan was up here, and so Chris, who's the guy, the CEO of Chef Steps, he's the guy who's leading off my event. I'm interviewing him on stage in a fireside chat. So it's just like there's just a great community up here. But just more broadly, man, there's just some really cool stuff going on. Like we talked about earlier, just things like the June intelligent oven. There's people who are doing 3D printed food, which is kind of crazy. I didn't know this, but there are actually food robots now that can assemble food. Like you can order meals and then have like it cooked to like a certain type of like chef preference you want. And some of the stuff is targeted at the restaurants initially. Obviously kind of the high end. It's like enterprise versus consumer. A lot of the technology goes into the enterprise first, in the food space. Some of it will go into the restaurant first, but there are people trying to do food and restaurant or food cooking robots for the consumer market. So some really crazy stuff, but also some really kind of stuff that's very practical today, that's here today. Like the fact that the cookbook itself is being reinvented with the iPad, right? I mean,
oh yeah,
people like my mom's age in her 70s use an iPad and may use an iPad in the kitchen just to cook, and that is like a sign that technology is finding its way into the kitchen, and just a lot of interesting stuff is going on there. So it'll be a fun day of conversation. I got a who's who of guests to come speak, and it'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, you've got quite the rundown of sponsors going and speakers. It looks like a really cool conference. I'd really like to see if I can make my way up to Seattle in November. It's going to be tough because I'm pretty much gone the entire month of October, and then I can probably swing November too.
Yeah.
See what work says.
It'll be it's a one-day event. We're hoping to do some fun stuff with like demos, etc. So it'll just be a fun conversation, and so hopefully this will be the first of many. And so if we can't make this one, maybe you can make the next one. Yeah,
definitely. I mean, one thing I want to see really go into the kitchen. We just remodeled our house, and which really, when you remodel a house, kind of centers around the kitchen, right? Like the kitchen was one of the rooms that we did, and that's pretty much where all the money goes. I mean, you have to buy appliances, ovens, microwaves, and everything. And we paid for some premium products, and like it's a smaller kitchen, so we had to get one of those microwave drawer things, right? Have you seen those? It's like it replaces a drawer space that you would have, and you put it's a microwave. It goes in there, and
do you have to pull it out every time you use it, or is it there like?
Yeah, you can. It's actually motorized, so you just press a button and it like slides out. This nice little, it's a really cool microwave, but it has one thing on it, and one thing in kitchen appliances that just drives me bananas. It has a clock, and after every single time, every power outage, the clock just turns off. Why can't they put
a battery backup?
A battery backup.
That's just so obvious. Like, I mean, there may be some executive in an appliance company who are listening to this and go, why haven't we done this? And write a memo.
Even better. My grandmother has a clock that sits on her wall that aligns itself to an atomic clock without ever having to set it. Why can't they put that in there too? I mean, it seems like my cell phone does it, everything in the house but the microwave and the oven. And I walk by through the kitchen, and you automatically look down there to see what time it is, and it's always blinking 12 o'clock. So I hope if anything comes out of the Smart Kitchen Summit, we get smart clocks on our appliances.
Yeah, that's the one feature request you have. Like
if I can't make it this year, put that in.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a whole range of stuff going on. And like, quite frankly, I think some people are trying to leverage the fact that technology is creeping into the kitchen through like iPads and iOS devices. So there's some devices that are building on top of that, like the scales. There are guys that are trying to reinvent containers. I mean, you may or may not have heard that Colbert Report segment where he talked about the vessel, which is that quantified out cup container where you basically can pour the can into this container. It can tell you how many calories are in it. No, yep. He made fun of that for like 10 minutes, which is pretty funny. But I see a lot of value in that. And then you have guys who are reinventing food delivery. Like we have a guy who's the CEO of Plated coming to talk about, the food subscription business. And that's really cool. And then you have Amazon with their efforts around Amazon Dash. And so that's really interesting, right? What happens when you don't have to ever order anything, that orders it for you when you need it? Now, I think a lot of people are just going to go, this is too much technology. Why can't I just order my own food? And I think that's a valid point. And that could be a whole conversation right there. But I do think it's interesting to see all this IoT technology go into devices, and what does that mean from a business model perspective? So yeah, that'll be part of the day's conversation, I'm sure.
Yeah, the dash would be really interesting to have in the kitchen there, because everybody's looking at that little button like that's the greatest thing since sliced bread, but really it's not. Like the API and the infrastructure that Amazon has built out behind that button, so when you press a button, paper towels and toilet paper shows up at your house, like that is the impressive part of the product. And what I don't think most people realize is that API can be built into other products easily enough. So if you needed milk, your fridge may one day, this is always the joke, the smart refrigerator, but your fridge may be one day to detect that, the milk's getting low, I'll go ahead and put that on the shopping list. And by reaching out and touching that API, it shows up there in your Amazon shopping list. And when you need to put an Amazon order in, boom, you got it. And
what does it feel like when you touch that API? Is it fuzzy?
Yeah. Well, it's yeah.
I have a button though. I actually ordered one because here's the problem I have with the original set of the Amazon Dash buttons is like none of the products I really needed. So I had to kind of do stretch and say, I'll get they have a drink called Izzy that my kids like. So I ordered that button, and then I ordered it and I tweeted about it just because I'm we write about tech, we talk about it sometimes. And someone's like, you're actually paying Amazon to order a button to then order food from them. And I'm like, that's a great point. Why am I paying Amazon $5 for a Dash button? Like, should they be giving me $5 to put this in my house?
Right. Yeah, they should actually. I mean, you're going to pay for it one way or another, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So, but yeah, that's a good point. I think that the possibilities behind that infrastructure that Amazon has built out, it just kind of makes your mind turn around, because it's something that seems like you always say, we're going to have the smart refrigerator that can order eggs when it comes out. But like building that refrigerator that could detect if you had eggs in a little slot or not, I mean, that could have been done years ago. But having like an entire infrastructure and what do they call it? Like logistics company sitting behind that, ready to ship out thousands of eggs to people, that's a lot harder to do. And I think that's where we're going to see that particular part of the technology really take off. Not necessarily just in the little $5 Wi-Fi buttons that they've been shipping.
I agree. And so, we're having the guy behind that Dash button come and talk about it. We have the guy from Amazon who's running all their home automation business online come and talk about selling smart kitchen stuff. So, yeah, it'll be a fun day. I'd love to see you there, and I'd love to see some of your listeners there. I actually created, this is how real time I am. While we're talking, I created a discount code for listeners of HomeTech.fm. So if they want to go to the Smart Home Summit or Smart Kitchen Summit, you just go to Smart Kitchen. By the way, can I plug, or is this like
plug away, man?
All right. If anyone wants to come, you just go to smartkitchensummit.com. Use the discount code HomeTech, just HomeTech, all one word, HomeTech. And 15% off tickets. So, and that's for a special reward for listeners of Seth's podcast.
Well, thanks, Mike. We really appreciate that. That's awesome, man. That's real time right there.
Real time, yeah.
Well, if anybody wants to take a look at that, they can get over to our show notes or just head right on to the smartkitchensummit.com and then register right there. Links at the top of the page.
Awesome. Hey, well, this has been fun.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks so much for coming on the show and helping out with the little bit of news that we had and talking about the smart kitchen, man. Because the kitchen is needs to be the smartest room in the house. You can load it up with
it's the center of the house. It's like where our family spends most of our time.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we built our entire kitchen around the fact that every time we had something at the house, every time we had a birthday party, every time anybody came over to the house, we stood in this little tiny kitchen and squished each other, against the cabinets until it filled up, and we're like, all right, we got to get out of here. And now we have this kitchen, that branches out into the rest of the house, and the entire house is literally centered around the kitchen now. So, it needs to be the smartest room in the house. It needs to be able to function function as a kitchen too. I mean, it needs to be able to do that stuff that, cook food very well. So this is really an exciting, I think at the beginning of a really exciting industry, and I'm glad to see that you're leading up the charge here. Well,
thanks, man. And you need to get a sous vide cooker. So
yeah, definitely. It's going to happen.
We can talk about sous vide. All right, man. Thanks a lot.
All right, thanks, Mike. Appreciate it. You can read all of our show notes and links to everything we talked about during this episode, including the Smart Kitchen Summit, at HomeTech.fm/74. HomeTech is a proud member of the Technology.fm network, which includes podcasts like Home On, The Smart Home Show, hosted by Mike Wolf himself, and the Daily Tech News Show with Tom Merritt. You can find episodes of HomeTech on our website, iTunes, Stitcher, and now, yes, TuneIn, which means you'll be able to listen on Sonos or that nice little Amazon Echo easily enough. And lastly, you can support us over here at HomeTech by going to the website and clicking support link at the top. You'll find links to our Patreon page where you can become a patron of HomeTech for as little as $1 per month. This really helps Jason and I produce the show each month, and we really appreciate everyone who's pitched in. If you don't want to do the patron thing, we totally understand. Please head over to iTunes and just drop us a rating, or send us an email at feedback@hometech.fm, or you can just use the form on the website. That's it for this episode. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.